Welcome. I am Neil Thompson, and it is my great pleasure to welcome Mr. Sen and all of you to tonight's teleseminar. And the topic for tonight is, how do I figure out what I want? And because of the number of people on tonight's call, if you have any questions, please just write them down and email them to us. And Mr. Sen will try to answer as many of the questions next week on the Wednesday's call. Mr. Sen brings this message of success, not as a career, but as a calling. And the difference between him and most other teachers is one simple thing. He built a business of his own first, and then he went around the world teaching others how to build businesses from scratch and how to expand their existing business. And over this past weekend in Vancouver, we had the life-changing seminar, Master Key for Success with Mr. Sen. And it was just an amazing one-day seminar. All participants, they were ecstatic and transformed. And everyone was saying that, everybody has to learn the Master Key for Success to raise their belief level. And I was talking to one person. She also went to the July seminar, but she was so excited because she was able this time to bring her sister and a friend with her to the seminar. And she told me, she told me the other night, she said, how beautiful it is to be surrounded now with people thinking the same way and all practicing to raise their belief level using the Master Key for Success. And she also laughingly told me that now she doesn't have to change her family and friends. And another person I was talking to, she said, she received the value of the seminar in the first hour. And even the guy at the camera rental store was excited to see me again this weekend when I picked up the camera for recording the seminar. And he actually got a brief seminar from Mr. Sen last time when we came in for the July seminar on how to raise his belief level. And he was telling me that all the other books and seminars he's been, trying to get successful in the past. He's been doing all these seminars and books. Just listening to the teleseminars, he's been raising his belief level, and he's really excited about the Master Key for Success. So welcome, Mr. Sen. I just wanted to thank you on my behalf and all the others here in Vancouver for the incredible and inspiring teachings you gave us this weekend in Vancouver, and it's a real pleasure to have you on tonight's call.
Thank you very much, Neil. And today we're going to discuss the most serious subject of all. All knowledge about success, about yourself, is not useful to us till we know what we want. What we think we want is different from what we really want. This is the most important of all tasks in our lives. Let me read to you the letter that you sent out. One of the most important strengths of every individual is to set goals from a raised belief level and achieve those goals. When we set goals and our mind knows it can achieve it, it is not a vision. It is a to-do list. The next series of teleseminars that I will be doing will be focused on how to set goals from the heart. Everybody talks about setting goals. But are we setting goals or are we writing a to-do list? Question is, how do I know what I want? How do I know what I want? Think of it for a moment. We only figure out what we want on the basis of what we believe we can get. That is not improvement in your situation. My belief level is the measuring stick of my capacity to desire. My belief level is my potential. Our entire life, our happiness, our riches, our relationships, and our romances are all pegged to our want. We settle for what we can get. My life revolves around my capacity to want. Want is what? Want is an emptiness that needs to be filled, and we know we can fill it. It's different than a need. Want, I wanted, is an imperiousness. I can only want what I believe I can get. What do I mean by my want? We have to dwell on the word want. Want is a lack. Something or some situation that I lack in my life that I have to have it fulfilled. All our desire comes out of the feeling of lack. Unless we feel the lack, we cannot desire. The feeling of want, it is my thirst. I've come here to quench my thirst. When we are thirsty, absolutely thirsty as thirsty can be, a glass of water becomes the nectar of life. It is my vision of my life. All wants are revelations of my expectation. The most important thing or action in our life that we can ever take is to know and define what we want. What do I want? The moment you try to answer that, and right away, if you can answer that right away, you're not working from your raised belief level. The entire subject of success depends on our definition of what I want. What I want out of my life. If I don't know what I want, I would not know what I'm doing here. People go to classes, people read books, people take courses and seminars. That's all knowledge. I can have all the money in the world and all the knowledge in the world, and if I don't know what I want, my life becomes a burden. There is no purpose left. And if the purpose is compromised, if the purpose we have or the want we have is a matter of compromise and settlement of what we believe we can, on the lower level scale, to believe what we want, it is not going to be a happy life. I cannot even have a vision. Do you know, life without vision is a blind life? Think. Life without vision is a blind life. A life without a direction is an unloved life. A life without sight. Vision is sight. Truly, anyone that loves themselves, they will take on the responsibility of self-direction. Then the question is, why don't we know what we want? Think. Just think. Why don't we know what we want? I've met so many people in the course of my lectures and seminars and discussion. Everybody seems to think that what they know what they want. Really, it's not a want. They knew they could have it. It was not a lack. A want is a lack, is an expectation. It is a thirst. It is a vacuum in us. And the reason why we can't figure it out, because we don't believe we can have it. So we try to push it under the rug so we don't have to deal with it. I want romance. I want to be rich. I want to be a writer. I want to love. I want to be a great speaker. I want to do this. But secretly they harbor it. But also secretly they realize, can I have it? Yes. Without that want, we cannot even begin our journey on success. And the question is, why don't we know what we want? Again, the answer is simple. Very simple answer. We have wants. We have the feeling of lack. We have the pain of expectation. We do want life and more of life. We want riches. We want relationships. We want romance. And more than that, we want rejuvenation, constant rejuvenation. We want to stay young forever. And we can. We can have riches. We can have relationships. We can have romance. And we can have rejuvenation. But the problem is we are afraid to ask, lest we fail, or our belief level is not high enough for that. We know deep inside us. We really know inside us what we want, but we're not confident that we can have it. It's a very, very simple thing, as I said. Very subtle and very simple, and we're always in a self-defensive mode, not to put ourselves down, but in the silence of our life, in a little room, when we sit down in and think and contemplate on the self. So what am I here for? Am I going to be like a passenger on a subway train, getting on the train and getting out to go to a destination, and then getting off the train? Nobody will know. Even I would have forgotten it. We do believe that it is our basic right to be happy. But why don't we pursue happiness? Why do we only pursue satisfaction? And yet we are prone to compromises with life and settle for occasional glimpses of those so-called luxuries. Occasionally glimpses from the person you love, a look of joy. Occasional glimpses of the thought that one day I could be a great author, a great writer. One day I could travel the world and teach the world what I've learned in my course of life. We know that we can have everything we want. We know that. Every book on earth tells you that. But do they tell you how to want it? If so, follow that. Setting goals is not writing a to-do list. Setting goals is asking your heart, my heart, what do you want? I'll get it for you. The mind will want to go back to your memory. Mind works with memory. If the memory bank tells you never had this before, it'll deny you the right to want it. We know that we can have anything we want. The word is want. Put on a post-it note with absolutely capital letters, W-A-N-T, want, and stick it. Always remember your want. This is a pursuit of a lifetime, to stay on your want. Unless you have a want, you cannot have a vision, period. You'll be a life without a vision is a blind life. Want is the vision. No want. No, want is not a vision. It is the embryo of the vision. Want is the embryo of the vision. To want is to dare. And to dare is to imagine. And to imagine is to have vision. And vision is to have. As I said to you, no, want is not a vision. Want is the embryo of the vision. And the child is the manifestation. We have to dare to imagine. But still, we are stuck right in the beginning of the process of success in this life. We have to figure out what we want. Really. That's why we are going to have 2 seminars. Next week, Wednesday, will continue. This subject is too important to wait for it. One moment of life without realizing what my want is. And what my want is being kept hostage by my mind, by compromising and settling for what I can have. Because my belief level is not raised enough, so my heart can have what it wants. In any course in success, the secret is to figure out what to want. If we don't, of course, it's no use to us. Then we'll have a knowledge of how to get things, but not know how to want it. Isn't that ridiculous? All these details of how things come to you. What's the point? The learning law of synchronicity, learning the law of attraction, learning the law of gravitation. What is the point in having all that if I cannot figure out what I want? And if you know you figure out what you want, examine, is that your heart's want? In any course of success, the secret is to figure out what you want. The rest is details. Once you figure out what you want, there is all the laws going to go into play. You don't have to learn the laws. You don't have to learn the laws of gravity to gravitate back to Earth. You don't have to learn the law of attraction to attract things. You have to learn how to want, so law of attraction can get to work. All the laws of attraction and repulsion can only be applied when we know what we want. The first law of success is to know what to want and how to want and how to believe that what I want I will get regardless of my present circumstances and my past conditions. Now that is something that you have to be really assertive about. Assertive. And it all boils down to one single word. Belief. What do I believe? What do you believe about us? And not anybody else. What do I believe? Doesn't matter who believes what. What do I have to ask yourself, What do I believe about myself? Do I believe I can quench my thirst for romance? I was standing on the shores of Lake Ontario, on a height about 30 foot above Lake Ontario, the cliff, looking down. The moon was shining not long ago. And I looked at the moonlight shimmering in the lake. And I felt my romance. I reveled in my romance. And there was not romance only of love, romance of writing, romance of everything in this world. And I saw the magnificence of the stars. This power that created the stars, this power that created life, is in me. Why do I have to settle for glimpses of joy here and there? Do we believe that we can fulfill our dreams of riches, of romance, of relationships? No. No sleeping dreams, but dreams when fully awake. Those are the real dreams. Do we believe that we can have lasting and impeccable relationship and friendship like the Three Musketeers? We love the Three Musketeers play, movie. But how many of us really would love to have such relationship, such friendship? We can. We will. It's not that can we. We can and we will. That is why we are holding this course. That is why we are planning an online course, which will be announced within weeks, how we can figure our life and have riches, relationships, romance, and rejuvenation. The 4 R's. Write it down, all of you. This is what life is guided through, the 4 R's. Riches, relationships, romance, and rejuvenation. Constantly, forever good looking, forever young and strong. That is why we'll announce it within weeks. I'm preparing for it. We want to be rich. We want to have romance. We cannot even vision. You leave alone romance. We cannot even vision. When we vision to travel around the world with our romance, do you know why we can't vision? Because right away we start thinking. As soon as we say that we start thinking of traveling, how many vacation days do I have? Do I have enough room in my credit card to buy the tickets? Or can I afford it? Etc., etc., etc. That is why we cannot figure out what we want. Because right away we go to our present capacity. If our present capacity is what we rely on, why do we need to go to the success courses? And what's the point in going to success courses if we don't know what we want? Before you go, the first thing, the rule of any success course should be 80% in raising your belief level to want what you want. The rest is details. For example, what we want sometimes is too beautiful and we don't believe in it. Like in the story of Psyche and Eros. Remember, Psyche was the most beautiful woman in the universe. Psyche is the word from which psychology comes. It is our consciousness, our soul. It is always feminine, and Psyche is always lonely. Why? Because she's the most beautiful woman. and beautiful women are lonely because we are afraid to seek the most beautiful woman. We don't feel adequate enough. Most men don't feel adequate enough to go and seek the most beautiful woman. They don't feel confident enough. We are afraid because we don't feel qualified to get her. Psyche is riches, romance, relationships, rejuvenation. She was lonely. That's why she is lonely. We don't feel that we can be rich and can have romance in our lives. It is for most of us a fantasy. We really don't believe we can live out our life. We don't believe that we can live out our life and have romance in it. We cherish the fantasy as we cherish a fantasy movie. In the story of Psyche and Eros, we learn that she was so beautiful that she could not get any suitors. Her father went to Apollo and told him of his plight, of his situation. You know what Apollo told his father, told her father? Dress Psyche in mourning and put her on a mountaintop all night. Why? Because lower the belief level a little bit so men will get her. But she didn't. But she was so beautiful, she couldn't. He did. And then in the middle of the night, there comes Eros and swipes her away and marries her. What does that tell us? That tells us we are afraid to reach out and get what we want. What are you afraid of? It tells us we are afraid to reach out and get what we want. The vacuum, the emptiness, what we feel right now. The riches we don't have, the romance we don't have, the relationship we don't have. Why can't we want it? Instead, we settle for what we believe we can have. That is shortchanging ourselves. That is a painful existence. We don't realize it. We really don't realize because we become used to it. All our lives from childhood. Be contented. Be satisfied what you've got. Satisfaction is kind of a dementia, I think. How can you stay satisfied in a world of plenty? Of everything? Yes, you can have temperance. That is how it works. If today you want to have a certain amount of money or riches, is it aching in you to have it? Or you're settling for what you feel, an overtime, a promotion, or a different job will get for you? If today you want to have a certain amount of relationship or romance, and your heart is aching for it, do you feel that, I have to adjust things? No, just want it. And you will change with it. Wanting is 90%. You have to see it. You have to create a vision for it. You have to let your imagination reach out and create the image of the lifestyle of the riches you want. Rich is not money. Rich is a lifestyle. You can have millions of dollars and still have a poor lifestyle. We want money as a lifestyle. The obstacle to that will be your mind. It immediately comes into play and asks you how you're going to get it. Yes, our mind is like the story of the lion, the goat, and the lion cub story. Let me tell you. There was this goat. There was this lion. It's in the Ancient Secrets of Success, the story. There was this lion who was shot by the hunters and dragged away, but they forgot that there was a little cub left in that cave. So this cub was absolutely a baby, lion cub could not hold its own. There were goats in that neighborhood. They picked him up and raised him as a goat. They fed him goat's milk. Then he started eating what the goats eat, leaves and twigs. And was growing up with them, still a baby, a cub. And one day in that neighborhood, in the jungle, the lion, a big, huge, magnificent lion arrived on the hilltop there, and he gave a roar. And all the goats ran helter-skelter all over the place. Then the lion cub did not move. It was not afraid. It saw that something in that lion, the huge lion, was there. He recognized a bit, but he could not figure it out. Then this lion, the magnificent lion, the huge mane, walked down towards the cub, a tiny cub, and told the cub, "Why do you eat leaves? You should eat meat." And the lion cub bleated out like a goat, "No, I'm a goat. I eat meat. I eat leaf." Says, "You are a lion. Why do you bleat? You must roar." So no. He bleated, "I am a goat." Then he said, "Come along with me." So he took this lion cub to the pond, a pool close by in the still waters. And he said, "Look in there and see my face." He saw his face and said, "Look in the reflection there. My face in the pond." And then the lion cub looked at the face of the lion in the reflection in the pond, and then looked at the lion. Then he said, "Now look at your face, the reflection there." And he looked at his reflection in the pond, and then looked right at the face of the lion. And he gave a big yell and a roar, and he said, "I am a lion." You see, his belief level was changed. His wants changed from leaf to meat, from bleating to a roar. That is the sannyasa for visioning, is the mirror where you'll see your lion face. The 4 proclamations in Ancient Secrets of Success will clear the mirror, and you'll see yourself, your face. You will meet yourself face to face, and then your want will be a want of a lion, a want of the heart, and not of the fearful mind. This subject is without question the most important subject of all, for all our lives who seek success and happiness. We cannot ignore it at any cost. What is the point of living when we know we have come here to meet death at a certain point? And what's the point in raising children if we don't find out what we want? How can we teach our children? We have to pursue this vision of finding out what we want more and more, to figure out what we want. The rest is detail. Next week, I will continue the same subject, but at a more advanced level. knowing which we can figure out what we want. The subject next week will be, how do I accomplish what I want? Because what I want right now is beyond my means. You have to understand, that is why you don't express your want. That is why you don't dare to look at your want. You're the lion cub, I was the lion cub. We have to meet a lion to see that, who will show us the face-to-face in the mirror of our life. We'll talk about all of it later. There is only one power. There are no two conflicting powers in the universe. There's only one power. This one power creates peace and strife, wealth and poverty. The power is the same that creates poverty, that creates wealth. Like fire is power. Fire can warm my body on a cold night, or could burn my home. The energy of fire is no respecter of person. These courses will give you the secret behind all the laws of success. The master of the mind, and taking charge of your own world. You will master your mind, and you will take charge of your own world, your inheritance from the universe. You will learn to apply that there is no difference between cause and effect, between thought and thing, between vision and manifestation. You must listen to this replay of this teleseminar a few times. And you will, because you love yourself. Then pass this on to others you love. The more you pass this on, the more you'll believe in it. Your belief level will be raised. Then you'll be prepared for the next teleseminar, and you'll be fully charged on deciding what you want. Rest of the week, contemplate, what would I really like to have if I had all the power of the universe in me? Now, I always like to quote Franz Kafka. And he says, you don't need to leave your room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen. Simply wait. Do not even wait. Be quiet, still, and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has no choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet. Like the lion cub, you too will say, I am a lion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sen. That was very inspiring. How do I figure out what I want? You know, I never tire of that story. I am a lion. It inspires me every time. That is beautiful. And I can see that this is such an important subject, as you said. And as some of the lines you said, the want is the embryo of the vision. And a life without vision is a blind life. So this set of teleseminars you're putting on are so important. So next week, Mr. Sen will continue on the same subject, how do I accomplish what I want? It is beyond my means now. And we'll be sending out an email in the next couple of days, and also for the replay of tonight. So it's so important that you invite all your friends and family, get them on the call, because these seminars are so life-changing. I get so much feedback from people on that. And it's great to surround yourself with like-minded people, like that when I was talking in the introduction about the person who brought other people to the seminar. Now she has people with the like-minded people around her, so she's finding it so empowering. And so if you have any questions, please write them down and email them to us, and Mr. Sen will try and answer as many as he can on next Wednesday's teleseminar. And also, Mr. Sen mentioned tonight about the online course, and we'll be sending you details within the next week about that as well. So have a wonderful evening, and thank you again, Mr. Sen, for this wonderful talk on how do I figure out what I want. Thank you.